The story starts off when the main protagonist wakes up from his sleep and gets confused. He says that it looks like he fell asleep while playing the game Valkyria Chronicles. Even though it is just VR, he still feels tired, and later he looks at his status to find something strange. He then monologues that this is the Valkyria Chronicles status board, but this is not the character that he chose. After that, he scrolls through the status to find out that there is no logout button, so he wonders what is going on and if this is a game bug. Next, he suddenly receives a mail, so he opens the contents to see that someone, while addressing him as Canon, thanks him and congratulates him. It further said that he is now in a world within a parallel universe, very far away from the original Earth that he lived in, and it is because, a long time ago, he created a maze game called Dungeon Seed, and thanks to his data for clearing all the game missions, Gaia, the god of this Earth, has been very thankful. So as a present for him, when he died in his original world, he brought him to this place and gave him a new life. The world where he lives right now is a combination of Valkyria Chronicles and Dungeon Seed, which is why he will have all the spells, magic, and power that he owned in those two games. Gaia also says that he got approval from the gods in his original world, so he just has to relax and enjoy his new life in this magical world. Additionally, he tells him to remember that he already died in his last world, and his body has already decomposed, so there is no way to return. Lastly, he tells him that there is a shield surrounding where he is sitting, and he also gave him some useful skills to help him earn a living easier, so he hopes he lives a good life and lives happily ever after. Afterward, the message ends with the picture of a hot girl attached to it, and then it finally hits Canon that he is dead for real. Moving on, as he climbs down the stairs, the innkeeper notices him, so she tells him that his breakfast is already done, so she will charge him extra. Then, Canon ordered his food from the menu, but when he paid her for the food, the money got paid back. After that, as he is thinking about what he should do first, his food gets served, and then he finds out that the bread tastes good. Later, he looks around the inn while eating, and then he states that he should take a tour around the city to see what information he can find. Next, he finishes his meal and comments that his first destination will be the guild headquarters. After a while, he reaches the guild headquarters, which is located in the Eldoria capital of the Elsalis kingdom. Then, he goes inside the building and sees that, out of the 3 reception areas, the 2 are crowded with people because of the good-looking receptionists. Afterward, he approaches the reception center with the middle-aged man, so he asks if it is his first time here, and if he needs to register or hire. In reply, Canon tells him that it is his first time here, and that he wants to register to be an adventurer. Then, the receptionist brings him a pen and paper and tells him to write his name and what he specializes in before signing and appending the seal to the sheet below. Next, he asks Canon why he didn't ask the beautiful girl at the other counter, adding that he wasted a chance. In response, Canon tells him that he only came here because he wants to become an adventurer, not because he wants to flirt with a girl. At that, the receptionist says that it is true and that he has a good eye for this job. Then, he yells that this is the guild headquarters of Elsalis and definitely not the place for men and women to flirt with each other. Afterward, the receptionist introduces himself as Garand and reaches out his hand for a handshake. However, Canon apologizes to him, saying that shaking hands with someone he just met is kind of strange to him, to which Garand comments that he is a careful person. In response, Canon says that he is a coward, and it is one of the reasons why he doesn't have any friends. Later, judging by his attire, Garand asks if his occupation is related to sorcery, and then he suggests to Canon that he should start with some easy quests to test his ability. Therefore, he gives him the herb collecting quest and tells him not to die too soon, and to always save himself first. Hearing that, his first question is collecting herbs. He asks if this is a joke, but the receptionist continues to say that if he needs to abandon the mission, he should remember to give all the herbs he has collected to any adventurers nearby. He further says that this material belongs to whoever delivers it and that this kind of quest is very rare, so it is a good chance for practice. Then, after bidding the receptionist farewell, Canon says that there is no other way of getting used to collecting herbs. Moving on, near the edge of the Elsalis Kingdom's highway, Canon finishes collecting the herbs and states that now he can test a couple of things. Then, he looks at a herd of cows while wondering which one he should choose, and later, he finds a tasty-looking one. Afterward, he says that the reason he is staying in this place is because he wants to clarify what exactly was gifted to him by God. On the status board, there is just an outline, so he needs to fully understand everything in this world, along with his power, skills, and MP. Then, he looks around to see if anyone is near him because he can't let anyone see him use magic, which is why he chose this empty place to test his power. Next, he picks up a rock from the ground and fires it towards one of the buffaloes. The rock then pierces through the buffalo's body, and it leaves from the head. Witnessing that, Kanon gets shocked because he just wanted to frighten that buffalo since it was annoyingly staring at him. But he didn't mean to kill it. After that, he sees that the herd of buffalo is focused on him, so he monologues that for a normal adventurer, this is undoubtedly a dead end. Then, as the herd of buffaloes charges at him, he thinks about starting with the basic fire magic spell, the Fire Bullet. After he launches his attack, it creates a huge explosion while brutally murdering all the buffaloes. Witnessing that, he becomes speechless, and then he receives notifications saying, "Overkill." Later, he wonders how he can extinguish the flame, and he is sure that he only used a basic skill. Following that, more buffaloes come after him, so he uses his dancing wind skill to fly up in the air. He then thinks about how a simple fire bullet already has that much destructive power, and he feels like he is cheating. He also finds out that the skills are automatically set, and he can set their MP cost as well. Then, after he lands on the ground, the buffaloes rush towards him. Next, Kanon slices them in half using his winged magic while saying that excessively killing them is not a great idea. Later, as he tests out more of his skills, he mentions that in magic levels, C is the lowest, but surprisingly, all of his magic spells are above average. He also says that he has an S and SS rank of magic, and they're even higher than high class and could easily annihilate anything. Moving on, he notices that the buffaloes are running away, and then he states that unless his enemy is superhuman, C-rank spells are enough. After that, he arrives at the capital because he has to bring the herbs back to the guild. Then he notices a commotion and overhears someone saying that the slaves are going to be moved to another flea market. Next, as Kanon wonders if this is a slave trade, his eyes lay upon a beautiful elf slave girl. Later, he opens his status menu, and then he begins to read the message that he received from the god, Gaia, for the second time. After reading the whole mail, Kanon says that he thought he sent this picture to troll him, but now he knows what he wanted to say. It is all thanks to this quest that he was able to test his power and find out what he has to do in this world. He then menacingly says that he will make every girl he desires to become his lover and create a whole new dungeon, a place forged for him and his own harem. Moving on, he arrives at a mountainside and questions if this is the cave that is said to be the goblin nest in the quest. He then monologues that because he accidentally killed many buffaloes before, he had to accept this unpleasant quest to come here alone, which raised his guild rank to C. A few days ago, he was called inside the Adventurers Guild office by Garen to take the order from the Adventurers Guild. At that, he asked if he had the right to refuse, to which Garen responded that only if he had a compelling reason. He adds that if he refuses the requester, who is a guild master, according to the rules, he will be stripped of the title of adventurer immediately. Then, he hands him over the request form and tells him not to look so depressed. Next, Kanon reads the content of the mission, saying that the goblin nest is near the Fair Forest and that it is a day's walk from the royal capital. Although no surrounding villagers are harmed, all the people who were asked to kill goblins disappeared, and after investigating for a while, they want to deal with this thoroughly. The task is to investigate the goblin nest by himself, and it doesn't matter if he succeeds or not, because the registration will be deleted if he refuses. After that, he wonders why he gave him this order and if he is an eyesore to him. It is like he is forcing a freelancer, but above all, the problem is that the guild card that allows him to freely roam through the empire is one of the most useful things in the world. He cannot refuse the order, and then he wonders when he will have his own harem if he keeps venturing into those jokes. Later, Gurren asks if he has calmed down, and then he explains that he is just asking him to check if it is real that goblins are living there or if someone gets caught by them, so if something dangerous happens, he wants him to try to escape quickly. Back to the present, Kanon finishes checking the first floor while thinking that if it is simply reconnaissance, he should turn on his map skill. He then thinks about getting this done quickly, but after checking the map, he becomes astonished. He sees the names Arisia and Rina displayed on his map, so he wonders why there are two other people here. He also notices that they are surrounded by goblins and that their HP and MP are almost gone. Then, he rushes to the area pointed out on the map and finds out that they are still there. Afterward, as Arisia and Rina are cornered by goblins, Kanon quickly arrives at the scene and slices all the goblins into pieces. Amidst his slicing action, Arisia notices a goblin behind Kanon, so she warns him, saying that a goblin is behind him and that he needs to watch out. However, as the goblin is about to launch a sneak attack, it suddenly starts to cough up blood. At that, Arija and Rina become surprised, whereas Kanon finishes off the last goblin and thinks about how special items are an exceptional ally. One of his swords, Tsuranukamaru, will increase its sharpness depending on the number of defeated goblins. On the other side, Goblin Eater, which causes damage against goblins that are non-healable with healing spells below a class. Moving on, after a short pause, Arija bows her head and thanks Kanon for saving them. However, Rina tells her to hold on and not let her guard down while pointing her sword at him. At that, Kanon introduces himself to them and says that he was sent here to investigate by the guild. Then, he suddenly realizes that he is still using voice camouflage, so he apologizes to them, saying that he didn't mean to scare them. Afterward, Arija scolds Rina, saying that it is rude to say that to someone who just saved their lives, and he would have let the two of them get killed by goblins if he intended to harm them. At that, Rina apologizes to him for being rude to him, and then she thanks him for saving them. Kanon thinks that the big melons girl with long hair is Arija, the princess of the Elsaris kingdom. Concurrently, she is a magician, but in Dungeon Seed, she is an enemy when it comes to dungeon exploration. The other is Rina, and like Arisha, she is a character in Dungeon Seed who is the Duchess's daughter with her parallel position as a swordsman and is currently working as the princess's bodyguard. They told him their story and why they were here, and together with a hero called Alhart and his sister, Yuria, they formed a group of 4. He further narrates that the spirit ritual was passed on to Arija by the royal family, so they were assigned to set up the spirit's altar. At that time, the story about the monster cave in Fair Village was spreading, and the village chief sent a request to the guild. However, Alhart ignored the chief's warning and rushed with the holy sword in his hand, and this is the consequence of all that mess. Then, Kanon tells them that they are dumb and that goblins are individually weak, but they work effectively in herds, so encountering them just does more harm than good. He also tells them that they caused him to delay his investigation to save them, while thinking that he should have turned a blind eye to these idiots. After that, Rina states that she must get the holy sword back since it is her family's treasure, whereas Kanon thinks that he wants to complete the quest fast and then report to the guild. But it seems that the expedition must be extended. He believes that these two have a chance to join his harem, and he must work hard for the glorious life of a dungeon master. Afterward, he tells them that he got it and that from now on, they should remember to follow his order. Later, he thinks about the evolution of goblins, which is from general to lord, lord to king, and king to emperor, so he wants to see what the boss here is. He then checks the condition of 2 of the people who are fighting with the boss via his map skill to find out that they are poisoned and have lost 40% of their HP. Later, he asks if they came here without antidotes and medicines, to which Arija replies that they didn't prepare any. Hearing that, he tells them that this is a stupid decision and that they at least should have added a healer and a carrier to their team. In response, Rina mentions that both Alhart and Yuria rejected this request, and it is partly because of the pressure of the Upataris congregation. At that, Kanon thinks that this is a frustrating situation and wonders if it is really because of the Upataris congregation. Moving on, he opens his map to see that they are close to the innermost room while thinking that there are 3 signals of living people, and one of the 3 is near the entrance. Then, they come across Yuria, who is in a bad state, and looking at her weak response, Kanon understands that she has been poisoned for so long that the remaining HP she has is 10%. Next, he looks at the state of the hero, who is fighting the boss, a goblin general, and thinks that he can't win. He also thinks that although it only knows physical art, it is quite strong, and compared to it, the hero is too weak. Plus, all he has is a long sword in such a small space, and it is called the Stormbringer, a powerful holy sword that can destroy every evil. Then, Rina mentions that the power of the holy sword is sealed, whereas Kanon tells her to hurry up and help him. He also says that if they are careless, they can get hurt, and then he mentions that he is going to advance, so they should take care of Yuria, to which she replies that she understands. Meanwhile, Alhart gets blasted by one of the goblin general's attacks, so Kanon wonders if he is dead or if he is just unconscious. Later, Kanon approaches the goblin general, but it lays its eye on Arija, so he becomes angry. Then, he steps in front of him, saying that his opponent is him, but the goblin looks confused. Witnessing that, Kanon wonders if the boss can't see him because he is using a hidden spell, and that he thought the boss was something horrible. He then undoes his spell because he thinks that it is not cool at all, so the goblin general begins to see him. Next, he taunts the goblin general, so he tries to launch an attack at him out of anger. However, Kanon counterattacks using the blade hidden on his sleeve, and with a single strike, the goblin general begins to cough up blood. Seeing that, Arija and Rina become surprised because they can't figure out if he just swung his hand or if there is a weapon hidden in his sleeve. Then, as the goblin general is confused by what is happening, Kanon menacingly approaches it, while unsheathing his dual-wielding daggers. After that, the goblin general tries to launch another attack, but Kanon swiftly dodges the attack, and then he slices the goblin general's head into pieces. Next, as the goblin general lays dead on the floor, Arija and Rina become speechless. Then, Kanon grabs their attention and tells them that they should go back to the village since their mission has been completed. Afterward, at the fair village, Gurren becomes glad to see that they all came back safe and sound. Kanon asks if he has been waiting here, to which he replies that it doesn't matter what happens to the hero, the princess's safety is of paramount importance. Hearing that, Kanon gets angry as he is beating around the bush to shave off the responsibility of a guard. He thinks about not being here any longer, so he says his goodbyes, but Arija and Rina become surprised to hear it. At that, Gurren giggles at Kanon, and then he informs them that the princess must be tired, so they should get some rest and prepare for tomorrow's spirit ceremony. As for Kanon, he tells him not to rush to leave and that he has something to ask him. Later, inside a building, Gurren learns from Kanon that the princess was in danger due to Alhart's recklessness, so he came out to save them. Gurren adds that, according to the princess, the Upataris congregation was involved, so it was fortunate that he was there in time. At that, Kanon asks if he is saying that he must protect them until the end of the spirit ceremony. Gurren asks if he doesn't like it, to which Kanon replies that he has none right now, but there must be something delicious for the body to move. Next, Gurren comments that this is a direct request for him and that he needs to escort Princess Arija until the end of the ceremony. He also adds that the reward is to level his rank up to be in 10 million gold. Learning that it is rank promotion, Kanon thinks that it is good since quests are getting more and more interesting and there are more places to go, so he accepts the request. Afterward, Arija addresses Kanon as a teacher while telling him to take care of her. Then, after finishing their dinner, Kanon guards the outside, while Arija and the other girls take a bath inside the bathhouse. Next, he says that sitting in front of the fire and guard is actually not bad and that he never did this in his previous life. Later, he looks at the Alhart while he is sleeping, and then he thinks about how he desperately wants to eliminate him as much as possible. But there is no point in killing him. He also thinks that it looks like the Upataris are intentionally confronting the Empire, and that they must have introduced this hero. He further narrates that both sides chose to avoid head-on confrontation, so if he kills him here, there will be no way for him to kill the one behind him. Additionally, Arija and Rina have to go to the congregation, but the problem is the protection of the light spirits. The protection only works for unmarried girls, so even if they are in the magic shelter, this spell will detect their locations. Hence, it is hard for him to find a way to get rid of it smoothly, so he thinks about finding a chance to take advantage of him while preparing. Later, while holding the holy sword, he states that this reminds him of a strange feeling that he always had, and there is something wrong with this holy sword. Then, after taking a closer look at the sword, he understands something, and his doubts become clear. Afterwards, he narrates that he has to make sure that his future wives have a comfortable bath, and that he must seriously work. Moving on, Kanon narrates that the spirit ceremony is a hereditary ritual of the Elsaris royal family to receive the protection of the spirits, and when a royal reaches the age of 15, that person must go to the spirit tree to perform this ritual. Due to the indiscriminate actions of the Empire and the recent arrival of Alhart, the Covenant came to a standstill, and he had to help them find a suitable place to plant saplings of the spirit tree. It looks like the ancient royal covenant with the spirit tree has been violated, so he must help them atone for their sins by carrying out the request of the tree. And then the mission is over. The next day, Kanon tells Gurren that he has completed the mission, and bids him farewell. Afterward, as he is leaving the village, Arija grabs his attention, and then she asks if he would reconsider their request to travel with them. In response, Kanon thanks her for always using such polite words with a low-level adventurer like him. But their paths are different, so he seeks forgiveness from her. Later, Alhart appears, saying that he informed the guild about the result of their quest and Arija's safety, so they should return to the palace and report this to the king. Subsequently, Rina states that Alhart is right and that they should hurry back to the city. Following that, Yuria comments that one magician is enough, so they don't need him, to which Arija replies that it can't be helped. Afterward, she tells Kanon to take care and continue to seek glory, while adding that this is their goodbye. but if they have a chance to meet again, she hopes they can learn more from him. Then, as they are leaving, Garand asks if this is okay since he got a chance to become a royal magician, so it is a great opportunity for promotion. In response, Kanon says that he is used to a life of freedom, so the palace is not the place for him. Besides, even breathing the same air as Alhart is annoying. Next, he informs Garand that he is leaving, to which he tells him that he will see him when there is another mission. Then, as he is on his way, he narrates that Alhart is the heir of a baron, so he has been engaged since he was a kid with the daughter of a neighborhood aristocrat, and Yuria was just a kid with a brother complex. He then thinks that letting Alhart and Yuria team up with the other two might create more trouble, since Alhart just wanted to follow Arija, leaving his fiancée at home to travel. He also mentions that Arija is a princess and Rina's father is one of the 3 most powerful Grand Dukes. Hence, even with his gifted transcendent power, he is just a mere adventurer who has neither home nor title, and under normal circumstances, it is impossible for him to travel with those two. He adds that he will not use tricks to become a noble, but he will use the other way by creating his own dungeon, and making them kneel in front of him. Afterward, he thinks about how this world has many similarities with Dungeon Seed, and the other group of 4 were all enemies in that game. Since he has cleared Dungeon Seed, he can probably predict what those characters will do, and within his range, the light spirit's protection would be removed. Next, he will lure them into his dungeon and separate them to capture them one by one. The top priority for him right now is to lay the foundation for the dungeon, but he also wants to get a taste of Alhart's future wife. Moving on, after returning to his inn, the innkeeper notifies him that there is a letter addressed to him, so she puts it in his room. At that, he becomes confused, but later he arrives in front of a building and comments that he forgot about the slave market. Then, after going inside the slave market, he thinks that there are a lot of goods, and the customers frequenting them here are mainly the rich geezers. Later, he thinks about quickly going around and seeing if there are any slaves, which catches his eye since he finds this place disgusting. Afterward, he notices the dark-skinned elf girl from earlier, so he approaches her to ask if she can help him. Hearing that, the elf girl turns her face away, but Kanon tells her that he will be quick, so he wants her to turn this way. Then, she turns around and asks what a slave like her can help him with, but after taking a closer look at Kanon, she becomes speechless. Kanon asks if she remembered him, while adding that they met by chance. In response, she says yes, and says that they met when they were taking her away. Kanon then tells her that she has a good memory, but he, on the other hand, is not memorable, and no one thinks of him as someone interesting. He further says that it is a waste that God created girls with such bad taste and with such strange hobbies, accepting those ugly old geezers. Later, he narrates that she is one of the characters he created himself, and it took a lot of effort, so he remembers her clearly. He then questions if God deliberately left her here, and adds that he never gets bored of looking at her. Afterward, she asks what he wants to ask, to which he replies that he wants her to answer a question. Then he asks why she doesn't try to run away, even though she is powerful enough. He checked her fighting ability, and she is more than enough to be his sidekick, so he wonders why she is suffering. Next, due to her lack of response, Kanon asks if she is a masochist, but she hurriedly replies that she is not. She then blushingly tells him that it is because she is a slave, so she can only sit here and wait for someone to buy her. Hearing that, Kanon becomes shocked, whereas the elf girl continues to say that the collar she is wearing on her neck defines her fate. Kanon then understands that she accepts this life, while the elf girl adds that she doesn't have any friends, family, or a hometown, so there is nowhere to run. At that, Kanon becomes surprised because she is just like him and he doesn't have any memories of his past life. Then, due to his lack of response, the elf girl asks why he is suddenly so silent, but Kanon leaves her while apologizing for disturbing her. Moving on, after the slave auction begins, the announcer thanks everyone for waiting. Afterward, they bring a slave girl on the stage and announce that the 11th item today is one of the top 3 demi-human races, the 14-year-old daughter of the Nezarand Orfrabbit clan. They further announce that among her sisters of the same age, she is exceptionally grown up, and that they are starting the bidding with 10 million. Afterward, the customers start bidding, and the highest bid amounts to 150 million. Then, the announcer asks if anyone wants to offer a higher price than 150 million. And after a short pause, the announcer says that she is sold. Meanwhile, looking at the bidder's drooling face, Kanon feels disgusted since that old man already has one foot in the grave. Then he notices that the slave girl is panicking and that she is paralyzed with fear. He is only participating in this game to look for more servants because he needs manpower enough to capture Alhart's fiancée. He can see that she has talents with his assessment, and despite some shortcomings, it would be a waste to pass her by. Moving on, the announcer announces that the last item of the day is a dark elf with long platinum hair, smooth skin without a single blemish, and bright emerald eyes. Then, as soon as the bidding starts, the previous bidder offers 200 million. And when the announcer asks if anyone wants to offer a higher price, another bidder raises it up to 300 million. Later, the previous bidder offers 310 million, but Kanon, from a corner, says that he will bid 400 million. Afterward, the elf girl finds out that Kanon is the one who bids for her, so she bursts into tears of joy. Then, the previous bidder raised the price to 450 million, so Kanon bid 600 million, which surprised him. The announcer then asks if anyone would like to offer a higher price, and after a short delay, he announces that today's treasure is sold. Moving on, in an alleyway, the elf girl takes out his pursuers without any injuries, so Kanon comments that she is even better than he thought. Then, the elf girl asks what he wants to do next and if they are going back to his base. In response, Kanon says that there is still one more thing and that they need to go right away. On the other side, inside a carriage, the old man from the slave auction tells the demi-human girl that she looks delicious while looking at her maliciously. Moving on, the elf girl utters some random words, so Kanon asks why she is saying weird words, to which she hastily replies that it is not what he thinks. She then clarifies that it is the name of the person who hired their attackers, whereas Kanon thinks that it seems to be a marquee name. He also understands that the perverted old man is a noble and that he is trying to kill him. Later, he compliments her, saying that she did well, at which she becomes happy. He then thinks about how he thought that talking to her would be challenging, but it turned out that the opposite was true, since she got really delighted after his compliment. After that, she asks if he just mentioned something to do right now, to which Kanon replies that since they are going on a long journey, they have to get some necessities. Then, he apologizes to her for not introducing himself, so he tells her that he is Kanon, an adventurer. Following that, she introduces herself as Scheherazade, a descendant of the Dark Elf clan, while adding that she is often called Shira. At that, Kanon asks how she wants to be addressed, to which she tells him to call her Shira. Next, he mentions that he will tell her about the location, so she has to follow him at her speed and not stay too far away. On the other side, in a certain carriage, the perverted man maliciously looks at the demi-human girl's big melons. He then thinks about how that dark elf would be his as well, since those assassins may finish their work as he returns to his mansion. And it couldn't be better for him if they brought that brat's head for him, or they may catch him alive so that he can torture him. Later, he looks at the girl while thinking that, as of now, he should eat his dessert to relieve his anger before the main dish. Afterward, he suddenly calls the demi-human girl, and after a brief pause, he orders the girl to turn her back to him and sit on his lap. She then nervously replies with a yes, and as soon as she sits on the perverted man's lap, he grabs her melons using both of his hands. Next, the girl tells him that it hurts, but the perverted man continues to fondle her melons. Afterward, he tells her that there is no need for her to hold back her voice, but she replies that it is embarrassing. Then, after continuing the foreplay for a while, he slams her body into the window. Next, the girl hears some noise, so she looks back to see that the perverted man is opening his clothes to do fun with her. Afterward, as she falls into tears, Kanon appears outside the carriage with incredible speed. Later, the carriage suddenly stops moving, so the perverted man stops doing the deed midway. He then questions what happened, why they suddenly stopped, and when he was about to do it. Later, he roughly pushes her aside, which makes her fall to the floor. After that, he asks the guards what happened, to which they reply that there was an ambush. Then, after peeking outside the carriage, he asks one of the guards what is going on, and he replies that it appears to be bandits since the escorts ahead have been attacked. Later, he tells the perverted man to get inside and let them handle it, to which he replies that it is up to them. Moving on, the guards see one of their men approaching them from the front, so they tell him not to panic and suggest they kill them together. Then, the guard asks if he is okay and how the bandits are, but as the guard is about to request that they save him, he gets sliced in pieces. Witnessing that, the guards get shocked, and then they notice that it was only one person. After that, Kanon vanishes from their sight and appears above their heads, so they question where he is. Then Kanon begins to land, and while landing, he slices one of the escorts in half with a single strike. Next, he vanishes using his cloaking skill, so the other guard becomes restless as he starts swinging his sword like a madman. The guard then tells him to show himself, but Kanon appears behind him and orders him not to shout that much. Later, Kanon grabs his chin, and then he asks if he didn't want it to kill him. At that, the guard tries to say something, so Kanon asks what he said and if he could speak louder. In response, the guard pleads not to kill him, and he doesn't want to die. He continues that he took this dirty job because he still has a family, and it was not his intention since he was hired by that noble. At that, Kanon says that he understands, so the guard thanks him. However, in the next moment, Kanon snaps his head while saying that his family may show sympathy with him as well. Meanwhile, the perverted man wonders why it is quiet now and what is going on out there. Then, as the girl is lying on the floor, he addresses her as a slave and tells her to get out of his way. Afterward, he angrily questions who the bandits think he is, and their only fate for offending him. The inheritor of the Marquis Goriashra is deaf. Then, he looks at the door and asks just where on earth those bandits come from. Afterward, he asks the guards if they finished the job and tells them to bring the bandits' heads to him. However, after he exits the carriage, he becomes astounded to see someone familiar. After that, Kanon wishes him good evening, and then he apologizes to him for not making an appointment earlier. Later, while holding a severed head, he politely asks if he would mind lending him his precious time. Moments before the ambush, Kanon states while flying over the carriage that he has finally caught up and that this magic is useful. Afterward, he mentions that the carriage in the front and back must be the escorts, and the old bastard must be in the middle. He then menacingly says that he hopes he enjoys his dinner while addressing him as a bastard noble. Meanwhile, one of the guards gossips about how that erotic old man purchased another female slave, whereas the other guard tells him that he is their client so he shouldn't say that out loud. In response, the guard says that he is right and that they are going to get fired if he ever hears this, while the other guard comments that they should just put up with the petty stuff. Suddenly, the horses start acting up, so the guards wonder what is wrong. Then, they notice something falling right in front of the horse and question what that is. After taking a closer look, they are surprised to see that it is a dead body, so one of the guards mentions that they are being ambushed and that they need to alert the back escort. However, as the guard looks at the other guard next to him, he witnesses that his head is decapitated. Afterward, he notices that blood is dripping on his shoulder, so he hurriedly looks back. Then, he sees that Kanon is sitting menacingly over the carriage while holding the decapitated head of the other guard. Next, the guard in a horrified state asks who he is, but Kanon instantly chops off his head using his bare hands. After that, the other guards announce that they are being ambushed, and then we return to the present event. Then, as Kanon is holding the demi-human girl, the old perverted man asks how dare he take his slave. Later, he calls a terrified guard who is hiding behind one of the carriages and tells him to protect him. He also mentions that he will be rewarded for killing this bandit, while asking why he is hesitating, and who else could pay him such a huge sum of money. Meanwhile, Kanon questions if he missed something, and notices that he has been hiding this all time. Later, as the guard tries to attack him, Kanon comments that it doesn't really matter, and then he proceeds to chop the guard into pieces using his dagger. He then comments that it is such a fine replication of it, and it seems that he has yet to forget it. On the other hand, the perverted man in a terrified state questions what this is supposed to be, and if he single-handedly killed all of his escorts. In response, Kanon says that this is his favorite role and adds that if he doesn't understand what he means, it is okay. Later, Shira arrives in front of Kanon in an exhausted state, so he comments that she finally caught up. In reply, Shira apologizes to him, while adding that thanks to the shoes he lent her, she managed to catch up. She then tells him that it seems she was too late, whereas Kanon thinks that she takes it a little bit seriously because she came sooner than he expected. Later, he tells her not to mind it, and then he asks if she can do him a favor as well. Afterward, he tells Shira to take care of the girl he is holding while mentioning that old bastard must have used certain drugs to make her like this. Then, he informs her that he still has some unfinished business so he will be going after her soon, to which she replies that she got it. Suddenly, he tells Shira to wait before she goes, and then he casts a spell on the demi-human girl's slave collar. At that, Shira asks what he has done, to which Kanon replies that he claimed that old bastard's slave seal, since he just can't leave her with his slave seal. He tells her that she may go now, whereas Shira tells him to take care while addressing him as master. After she was gone, Kanon menacingly tells the old bastard that it is time for the two of them to have a conversation. Hearing that, the old bastard shivers in fear, so Kanon asks if there is something wrong. He also asks if it could be that he is anxious, and tells him not to make him anxious as well. Kanon tells him that they should have a conversation, and then he asks if he knows why he did all of this. He continues that after he failed in the auction, he hired assassins to kill him and attempted to take Shira, so he thought he could get him with those cheap tricks. After that, Kanon grabs his mouth, and then he mentions that this proper conversation is a once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity, but he doesn't seem to pay attention at all. He continues to say that he may want to listen to this carefully because it is a secret of his. Then, he makes a menacing expression as he tells the old bastard that has experienced death once. He further says that he is not a zombie, but he was reincarnated in this world by the ruling goddess. Then, he adds that he really wants to enjoy his life here, so dying an absurd death would be ridiculous, and that he feels sorry for those who are after his life. He asks how it feels when his life is about to end, and if he now understands. He also asks if it is fear or trauma and if he can't stop trembling, while adding that he did the same thing to him. At that, the old bastard questions what he is saying and if he is out of his mind, but Kanon says that he has the guts to say so. Then, he tells him that he experienced death and feels uncomfortable thinking about it, and that uncomfortable feeling escalates as he plays with his life. He continues that it earns him the necessary knowledge and allows him to make reasonable speculations, whereas the old bastard comments that he doesn't have anything to do with this anymore. Afterward, Kanon tells him that he has never taken notice of cringy stuff before, but now that he has died once, only to be reincarnated for a new chance, he thinks that he should change his lifestyle as well, and the first thing he will do is to relieve stress using him. Then, Kanon menacingly tells him to answer his question, which is how he wants to kill him. He seems pretty good at earning enmity from others, so he will grant him the honor of experiencing vengeance since he might find it useful after reincarnation. Moving on, at Eldria's safe house, Kanon lies on bed and says he is exhausted and that relieving stress using others didn't feel as good as he imagined. He also says that the dismember spell caused so much fatigue to him since this is reality, not a game that he controls with a mouse and keyboard. He then thinks about how so much has happened today, which are auctions, assassinations, female slaves, and the girl named Shira. Speaking of slaves, he remembers the important part, but he can't force her since he would not be so different from that old bastard. Suddenly, his Excalibur rises from thinking about Shira, so he questions if this body is still a virgin. He also questions if he will be able to resist her enticing body, and what if he comes too quickly. Afterward, Shira suddenly knocks on the door, so he tells her to come in and lock the door while thinking about what he should do. Meanwhile, Shira comes into his room wearing an erotic dress, and then he responds to him saying, as he wishes. After that, he asks what brings her here at midnight and if she couldn't sleep well, but she replies that it is because of something else. Suddenly, she acts flustered while looking at his lower half, so Kanon asks if there is something wrong with his feet. Then he notices that this third leg rose, so he thinks about how his cold-hearted image is gone. A few minutes earlier, at a safe house near the Eldoria royal capital, Kanon asks them if they are done changing, and then he apologizes saying that those are all he has. In response, Shira tells him that they should thank him for this, since they haven't had proper clothes for a long time. She also says that it feels nice against her body, and the design looks good as well, whereas the demi-human girl wonders what words are written on her shirt. Meanwhile, Kanon thinks about how those attires arouse erotic desires, and they look like rewards for participating in an event. Then, Kanon notifies Shira that the food is ready, to which she replies that she will reheat the food. Afterward, Kanon asks the demi-human girl if she would mind telling her name, while introducing himself as Adventurer Kanon. In reply, the demi-human girl says that her name is Eneria Fuon and that he can simply call her Anna, while adding that her father used to be a duke and they lived in the royal capital. She continues that he managed to earn the king's respect and was granted private land. But he got married to a beast woman without consent, so he was deprived of the private land and nobility peerage. Her mother passed away when she was still young, and afterward, her father achieved some successes in the commercial field, but his failure in a big trade led to his plunge into tremendous debt. Her father then ended his life as he couldn't withstand the pressure anymore, so she was forced to work as a maid to pay off the debt. Hearing that, Kanon thinks that her story is not something rare and wonders if she exaggerated it. He further thinks about how he only asked her name and yet she told him everything about her life, so he believes that she must have been an obedient and honest girl who blindly believed others. Later, he thinks that she is an honest idiot, as expected given her age, but she is also an open and easygoing person. Afterward, he tells her that he has some opinions for her, which are that she may continue her life as a slave or she can become his servant, and be allowed to spend the rewarded money however she wants. Hearing that, she becomes surprised, whereas Kanon continues that she should carefully consider, and as for him, whatever choice she makes is okay. He adds that if none of these options appeal to her, she may leave, so he wants her to give her answer before tomorrow morning. Later, Shira apologizes to him for keeping him waiting, and then she tells him that the dinner is ready. At that, Kanon thanks her, but then he asks where their portion of the ration is. Shira says that they slaves don't deserve to have dinner with him, because their low status doesn't allow them to do that. Hearing that, Kanon becomes speechless for a second, and then he tells them that it feels as if he is working when he is having meals alone, so he has grown bored of eating alone. He also tells them that when they are eating, he wants to do it together, and just when they are having meals, he wants all of them to enjoy that time. But just because they are servants, it is wrong of them that they can't. Afterward, he begs them not to force him to command them. Hearing that, Anna becomes surprised, whereas Kanon says that he will prepare some simple dishes for them now. Then as he is going towards the kitchen, he tells them that they should get to know each other better, to which they reply that they understood. Afterward, while he is cooking, he thinks about how he feels uncomfortable all of a sudden. He knows why, and it is similar to the last time he became an escort. He somehow felt irritated as well, so he guesses that he has been affected by the surrounding atmosphere. This time or last time, they hardly get along, so he thinks that it is better for him to do hidden jobs in the darkness while remaining unknown. But these overwhelming feelings burst once he thinks about the girl he saved, and there is an uncomfortability that has been growing inside his heart. He believes without a doubt that it is regret, and he feels the sight of a girl shedding tears. He feels that he has seen before. It seems to be a memory from his previous life, from when he could no longer stand society, and both his body and soul feel like they are being torn apart. A newly recruited woman who was forced to work even during days off, yet she put up with it until she collapsed. Her tears were the last thing he saw. He didn't intend to help her back then, and yet he did, which is why these feelings remain even now. His previous life self was powerless and helpless, but he still couldn't control himself when he saw somebody in need. This time, he wants to fulfill what he has been unable to do before, so that he doesn't have any regrets in this life. After that, Kanon arrives at the dining room holding their food and asks if they got to know each other, to which Shira replies yes. He then adds that their work performance depends on their body's conditions, so they should take care of themselves and don't try to push themselves too much, to which they reply that they understood. Later, Shira comments that the dishes are already giving off a pleasant scent when reheated, and that it has been a while since she enjoyed a hot delicious dish. Hearing that, Kanon becomes speechless, and then he thinks about how he feels as if he is missing something. Then, after a short pause, Anna suddenly starts crying, which makes Kanon startled. She tells him with teary eyes that it is delicious, and while witnessing that, Kanon grips his spoon tightly. Later, he glances at Shira to see that she is smiling at him, and afterward, he calms down. Then he thanks Anna, but they ask why he is saying that to them, since they should be thanking him. After that, Kanon states that they should eat and then puts his hands together while uttering, "Have a nice meal." At that, Shira asks what that is and if it is a sex ritual. Kanon says that it is not a ritual but a tradition in his homeland, where everyone must do it as they have meals. He adds that they don't have to worry about it, but Shira and Anna look at each other while smiling. Then they put their hands together just like Kanon did, and then they said, "Have a nice meal." Afterward, both of them start smiling, and looking at them, Kanon becomes speechless. Shira then asks if they did it wrong, to which Kanon responds that they make him feel as if they were his children. Shira says that she doesn't think so, but she thinks that it sounds pretty adorable, so she thanks him for saying that. Back to the present, after Kanon finishes clapping Shira, he falls asleep. Then he suddenly wakes up in a strange place and wonders if he is dreaming. Later, a big melon girl wishes him good evening, and then she informs him with a smile that she is the god. Hearing that, Kanon wonders what she is saying and if she is crazy. Afterward, she tells him that this is her first time meeting him in person, and then she congratulates him. Meanwhile, Kanon remembers that she is the same as the picture in the first message, whom he thought was a cosplay girl. After that, he asks if she is Gaia's, the great god of earth, while adding that he thought it must be a male god. She says that she is the one who holds the life, chaos, and stability of this great earth, the god Gaia's. She also says that though she is a goddess, she can also transform into that male form, and then she questions if the people on earth usually know her as a man. She continues to say that when she called him to this world, she had a lot of things to do, so she could only send a message, and it is also thanks to him having the dark elf Scheherazade that they can meet like this. Later, Kanon asks if he could ask her something, while adding that she has to answer honestly, to which Gaia responds that she will answer anything except for age-related matters. Then, as he is about to ask his first question, Gaia says that she knows that he wants to ask about his body in the old world. In reply, Kanon says that according to her message, he is already dead, so he wants to know about his body. Gaia tells him that his body has already turned to ashes after being cremated at the funeral, and then buried in the grave. She then makes fun of him, saying that he is just an otaku who is aloof from society, so there is no point in living in the old world, whereas Kanon angrily asks if she wants to fight. After that, Gaia asks if he still wants to go back to his old world, to which he replies that he wants her to help him. Gaia informs him that right after he died, she talked to the god who rules their world, but he refused since it is taboo to immediately reincarnate in the original world, so that's why she decided to let him reincarnate here. Later, he tells her that he is currently benefiting from the Golden Law X, and no matter how much money he spends on his wallet, it still won't be empty, so he wants to ask if this will continue in the future. She replies that from the moment he reincarnated here, data saved in Valkyria Chronicle was immediately transferred with him. Accordingly, this skill will have a permanent effect, so he will never need to worry about money as long as he doesn't lose it. Hearing that, Kanon asks what she means by losing it and if it is about losing his skill. In reply, Gaia informs him that there are skills that remove or deprive skills, so inherent skills can still be lost. But those two skills are banned in this world. Hence, there is no need to worry about it, while adding that even he can't have those two skills yet. Afterward, Kanon mentions that this world is based on the dungeon seed that he used to play, so he wants to know if it is based on his own historical developments. Gaia replies that it is a little bit similar and a little bit different, and an example would be the existence of him and that dark elf. She continues to say that characters that appear when he completes an ending in Dungeon Seed will exist independently in this world. She adds that he has met many of them before, and she also knows that he is heading to a different future with the Dungeon Seed ending. At that, Kanon asks if there is a problem, to which she responds that she herself feels unsatisfied with Dungeon Seed. She adds that she is super excited about the future he will draw in this world, and then she asks if there is anything else. Kanon asks why this world looks like it is set in a Dungeon Seed that he plowed, and then combined with the battle system in the VRMMORPG Valkyria Chronicle. She replies that originally, the creators of those two games subconsciously referenced this world and created those two games, and then the gods here found the system and the two games very interesting, so they changed many things in this world like the game before. She continues that there are still many things that are not in the game, and this world still has its own things, unlike in the game. At that, Kanon says that he understands that the two worlds, through two games, influence each other. Later, he asks her what she wants him to do, since he knows that a god never has free time to come just to talk like that. Hearing that, she replies that he is an understanding person, and then she tells him that she has come to give him the active skill, birth magic. She asks if he intends to have a baby with Scheherazade, whereas Kanon wonders why she suddenly changed to such a sensitive topic. After that, she tells him that birth magic is simply known as making the partner feel more desire and arousal and fun, while adding that the condition to acquire the skill is that he must touch the highest level of dark magic technique. She also says that he doesn't even need to use charms to make that innocent elf fall for him, and using magic to penetrate the mind will have the side effect of slight dodging by the opponent but will also be mentally manipulated. It is often used by succubus to find food, so this magic is very useful for future generations of races. However, succubuses are usually infertile, and many races have already used this spell. But in this world with a low birth rate, it is still hopeless, and all species are going to extinction. She also mentions how mating between different species has a very low rate of successful fertilization. But if he successfully uses this technique, the odds are close to 100%. Therefore, by using this birth magic, the birth rate of this world should improve, and she believes that it is the way to avoid extinction. Moving on, she tells him that they should practice, and then she proceeds to take off her clothes, so Kanon hastily asks what she is doing. At that, Gaia asks if he is embarrassed to see her take off her clothes, but Kanon replies that this is not what he meant. Later, she gets on top of him, saying that there is no need to be so vigilant since this is the only way to give the skill to him. Hearing that, Kanon asks if she is serious and if she doesn't mind his feelings. Gaia says that she has to impart the skill, so his opinion is meaningless. She adds that to be able to use this birth magic most effectively, it is very appropriate to use mating to transmit it. But it is not just about touching each other's bodies, so she also needs to drink the liquid. Then, she tells him to open his eyes wide and enjoy the process of how this seductive magic is brought into him. If there is anything he doesn't know, he will need to find it for himself, whereas Kanon replies that he got it, so he needs her to get down first. She then steps on his hand, asking why he is panicking, and adds that he should be confident since there is nothing to be ashamed of. Afterward, she begins to undress herself while saying that his Excalibur will be going inside. She also says that this is when she gets serious and that she will let him enjoy it. Then, after finishing clapping her, Kanon comments that her sense of work is really high, but she should say if she is not used to men, since it feels like he just did something bad. As he tells her that he has to go back now, he suddenly receives a message asking if he wants to take the god core from Gaia's. Seeing that, Kanon questions what this is, and since it looks like a trap, he rejects the offer by selecting no. After that, he suddenly wakes up to find himself in his bed, and then he wonders why he dreamt such a strange dream. Then, he gets notified that he has acquired a new skill, and looking at how it is the birth magic, he becomes certain that it was not a dream but reality. Moving on, Anna starts screaming while punching a training doll, whereas Kanon narrates that, judging by her scream, she seems to be imagining who the doll is, and his guess is that the person in her imagination is not a good person. He also narrates that, in order to ease her heartache, he is training Anna. A few hours ago, after he woke up from his sleep, Shira wished him good morning, and adds that she would prepare breakfast right away. In response, Kanon tells her that there is no need to be in such a rush, whereas Anna appears in the room and wishes him good morning as well. At that, Kanon wishes her back while realizing that she chose to stay. He thinks about deciding what to do today, and later he asks Anna if she could help Shira prepare breakfast. Afterward, Shira mentions that she will take care of all the cooking today, while adding that Anna has never been in the kitchen before. Hearing that, Kanon becomes surprised, so Anna tells him that she was only assigned to clean the house and deliver the goods, so she has never been assigned to cook or help her master change clothes. At that, Kanon says that it is okay, whereas Anna tells him that she is sorry. Next, he mentions that she doesn't have to feel guilty, while Shira tells her that she can learn from now on, to which Anna replies okay with a saddened expression. Later, Kanon hands her a change of clothes, saying that first of all, she should go and wash her face, and then she should change her clothes and makeup. He continues that after breakfast, they will go out, to which Anna asks where he will be going. At that, Shira tells her that he is going to train her, and then we come back to the present. Afterward, looking at her sloppy training, Kanon becomes speechless, but he then comments, "Let it be at first." He tells her to come over to him, while asking if she has any basic knowledge of martial arts. In reply, Anna says that she does, so Kanon suggests that she keep in mind before hitting the opponent, that she doesn't have to let her body float. Hearing that, Anna becomes confused, so Kanon explains that every time she punches, her center of gravity moves too much, and this is the key point in hand-to-hand combat. In response, Anna tells him that if she doesn't do that, she won't have much arm strength, so she doesn't know how she can damage the opponent. Kanon then mentions that she still doesn't understand the basics, so first of all, he will explain why it is taboo to let the body float like that. He says that it would be easier to understand with an example, so he calls Shira to give him a hand. Afterward, he tells Anna to look closely, and while throwing a punch at Shira, he informs her that in an actual battle, she will be like this. Then, as his attack is about to hit her, Shira deflects his attack and goes in for a counterattack, but stops before hitting him. After showing her the example, he tells her that as long as she doesn't keep her center of gravity, she will immediately be dodged by the opponent, and then she will get hit by a counterattack. He also mentions that Shira just used her bare hands, but if she had a knife, his head would be gone by now, so her life will be taken away in the blink of an eye. At that, Anna asks how to do it, so Kanon explains that she just has to imagine the single center of gravity existing in her body. Slightly bowed down to the length of the body, she has to imagine that there is a straight shaft going up from the ground. Then, she has to take that very axis as the center of rotation to move in place, and when she punches out, she has to let the force transfer from the center of gravity to the fist. Also, she shouldn't let her arms stretch too much and always be ready for the next move, and after punching, she has to take her hand back immediately. In other words, she won't release her fists from her hand but from her hips. Then, he tells her that he will be doing the next example, so she has to pay attention. Afterward, he stretches his hand backwards, and while keeping his foot firmly on the ground, he punches the doll with the force of his hip, and destroys the doll using a single punch. He asks if she understands and if it is easy, but she replies with teary eyes that it is not easy at all. He then tells her to practice like he did before, and she doesn't have to think that it is too complicated since she just has to improve the way she controls her body. He also tells her that this is just a basic technique, but in order for the skill to be effective, she needs to release the power from the muscles, and if she wants to become stronger, she has to practice like this. He further says that this is just the beginning of the barehanded attack, and then she will have to learn how to defend. So there is still a long way to go. Hearing that there are still so many things, she breaks down in tears while saying that she is scared. Later, he menacingly asks why she is so cowardly and adds that she has to calm down. But Shira tells Kanon that it is not good to scare beginners like that. Then, she tells Anna that it is fine for the first lesson, so they should go home since this is enough for today. Moving on, in the middle of the night, Anna murmurs that she didn't do anything today and that she is useless. Meanwhile, Shira eavesdrops on her, as she says that she at least must be able to fight, since she is being treated so well, and that she has to try quickly so that she can be able to help them soon. The next morning, Kanon tells Anna that he taught her how to punch the previous day, so now, they will practice foot coordination. He tells her to use her feet like he did the previous day, and just like when punching, she has to pay attention to her hips if she wants to increase her power, and next, the way the body moves in place into the sides also needs to be rhythmic. He adds that if she is not used to it, she can pay attention to the heel part, to which she replies that she understood. Afterward, he tells Shira to help Anna practice, and adds that he has to go for a while. At that, she replies that she got it, and then she asks where he is going. Kanon tells her that he is just going for some shopping. Moving on, he walks around the town and arrives at a shop called Après-Midi. Then, inside the shop, a demi-human waitress asks if he is coming alone, to which he replies that a friend is waiting for him. Next, he points at a man who is sitting in a corner saying that he is over there, whereas the waitress tells him that she will bring the menu right away. Later, Kanon asks the man if the whole city is running out of places to date, but the man asks if the store isn't still great. He adds that it is a good place to enjoy sweets, and normally people wouldn't come here to exchange information. Meanwhile, Kanon thinks that it feels like he is at a ladies' tea party, whereas the man comments that he loves sweets. Afterward, the waitress approaches them while bringing the man a shortcake and milk, whereas Kanon makes a disgusted face looking at that. He then tells the waitress to give him their most popular red tea, but the man asks if he doesn't want to order cake. He mentions that the fruit cake here is number 1 while Kanon thinks that eating cakes with this uncle makes him feel scared. Afterward, he introduces the man before him as Dane, a smuggler. He is a member of the Valkyria Chronicles and also the one who showed him the slave market where Shira was auctioned. From his exterior, everyone can see that he is calm, likable, and young, but the fact is that he is a grumpy old merchant, disguised with rejuvenation magic. He has a lot of hidden information and he is also a reputable informant in this world. So to facilitate his ambition, he needs to make friends with these types of people. After that, Kanon tells him that he didn't bring anything with him today, but he has certain information to exchange. He adds that it is about the nobleman, Miss Snef von Boriba, and the underground market he goes to and when he is there, and that the information must have been leaked to the Capital Guard and the Night Order. He has personally verified that it is true and that it might be a big help for him. At that, Dane thanks him for the information, while asking if he has anything else. Kanon says that he has more, which is that he already knows the situation of Marquis Goriasra's death. Hearing that, Dane becomes surprised to know that he already knew, and then he asks if Kano knows the cause of his death, to which Kanon responds negatively. Dane says that he has 3 suggestions, and then he hands him a couple of papers, adding that there is some information about the Lady of Lord Altair of Vestubane. The other ones are about the guy he mentioned just now, Count Benriba, along with the list of people who have dealt with that count so far. Then, after taking a look at the documents, Kanon pays him some incentive, to which Dane thanks him. Later, he looks at a piece of cake while thinking that cakes are not suitable for men, but girls like sweets, so he wonders if Shira and Anna like it as well. After that, he informs Dane that he will be leaving the capital soon, and he doesn't know when he will be back. He also tells him that if something happens, he will send a familiar to inform him, so he hopes he can help him then. In response, Dane says that he got it, and then he asks where he is going. Kanon replies that he is going to Vestubane, to which Dane comments that he is busy and asks if they are also going. In reply, Kanon tells him that they are just practicing and looking after the house. Then, he grabs the waitress's attention and orders 3 fruit cakes for takeout. Moving on, as he reaches the training ground, he thinks about how he has already gathered enough information for the next job, and it remains to be seen how far Anna can go. Depending on that, he will see if Shira and he have to do all the fighting, but as he approaches Anna, he witnesses how Anna destroys the training dummy in one punch. Later, Anna excitedly tells Shira that she did it, whereas Kanon smiles at them from a distance. After that, he approaches them, saying they should stop here for now and asks if they are ready to go. He grabs Shira's attention and tells her that he knows that she tried hard and succeeded. Hearing that, she looks at her fist and becomes speechless. Afterward, Kanon asks why she is standing around, and says that he bought them cake. Moving on, at the safe house, as Shira helps Anna change into maid clothes, she compliments her, saying that she looks good, to which Anna thanks her. Then, after she approaches Kanon, he asks if it is tight, but Anna replies that it fits. After that, at the dining table, Anna seems confused, so Kanon asks why she is not sitting down and eating cake, or if she got hurt somewhere during practice. At that, Anna bows her head and requests that they advise her from now on. She wants to learn how to wear clothes like this and how to defend herself. In response, Kanon tells her to raise her head, whereas Anna continues to say that she hopes he can keep teaching him. He adds that she might have to work hard from now on, to which Anna requests that he tell her whatever he needs. 3 days after leaving the capital, at the northwest of the kingdom of Elsalis, the territory of the Darusha tribe, Shira and Anna engage in barehanded martial arts training, while Kanon prepares some food for them to eat. As he stirs the food, he thinks that they might have to wait a little longer. He thinks that Anna practiced continuously without a day off, and that her movements are much smoother. He also says that once she has mastered the basics, she will be on her own when it comes to fighting. And then he thinks about checking the information he got from Dane. Afterward, he describes that there are 2 great countries in this world, and the first is the kingdom he lives in, Elsalis. The rest is the Asteria Kingdom Alliance, but the relationship between these 2 forces is pretty bad. Elsalis is built just like in Dungeon Seed, and the king is the final boss who constantly seeds troops into the dungeon. It is a kingdom that is populated and rich, but it is still somewhat slower than the other alliances. The reason is because of profound class and religious distinctions, and the mentality of being chosen to stand above the people is still rooted in this kingdom. Also, the Valkyria Chronicles is set hundreds of years later in the Dungeon Seed, so Elsalis became an alliance of the Asterian kingdoms. The remaining country, the Asterian Alliance, was created by the alliance of elves and beastmen seceding from Elsalis, and they also took in refugees from Elsalis, so the population is increasing continuously and has enough strength to deploy troops. Also, he found out that the forest Shira lives in is located on the border of the 2 countries and is now under the rule of the kingdom. The biggest reason for conflict between the 2 sides is religion, and the Asterian Alliance worships Gaias. On the other hand, Elsalis worships the male god opposite of Gaias, and the Upataris church controls the state religion. After the dream of playing the game together, he is sure that they shouldn't be fighting a god, but he is still a bit annoyed because she seems to look down on him. Then, he mentions that the destination this time is the border of the center territory of Altair, Vestsuben, and the goal is to rescue the Lord's daughter. Her name is Rico von Altair, and she will be married to a hero one day. This quest is the same as in Dungeon Seed, where Alicia and Rena will play 2 important opponents. He has to hurry to Vestsuben, which is located on the border between the kingdom and the alliance and was once part of Doltia. This country perished at the start of the Dungeon Seed, and the reason is said to be a sudden invasion from Count Altair. But what bothers him is that in the Valkyria Chronicles, this country didn't exist, but after thinking about the impossible in the setting of this world, he feels optimistic. Next is about Rico von Altair, whose information is almost non-existent since she never appeared in the game, and it could be because he hasn't cleared all the hidden quests with new characters appearing. And there is one more important thing he doesn't know, which is about the target's appearance. As Dane described it, she has cherry pink hair and purple eyes, and he speculates that she probably might just be a teenager. He then remembers that she was reported dead during an invasion from the country of Doltia at the beginning of Dungeon Seed, and even that country of Doltia was announced to have perished at the beginning of the game. He doesn't know anything about the person he needs to protect, and it is hard to predict. However, according to information from Dane, Rico really exists, but it is all fuzzy information like other. He doesn't even know how big the enemy is or the terrain of the place where fighting is going to happen. So many things need to be explored before coming up with a strategy. He then thinks about how he is going to rescue a game character that he doesn't even know the looks, so different from the time of advertising. He also thinks that Gaia's told him to love freely, but she still made him play in the world she set up in the end. He further thinks about defining his goals because if he keeps chasing pretty girls like this, he will attract a lot of danger. He has the power to eliminate both dangers and financial problems, so the thing to do now is to finish the work that has already begun. On the other side, a girl introduces herself as Rico von Altier, daughter of the Earl of the Borderland. She further states that Albert von Dedvo is her betrothed fiancé, and that their parents have been close friends for a long time. Later, a butler approaches her, saying that she is the same as before. At that, Rico addresses the butler as Sebastian and asks if he said something, to which he replies that it is nothing. She continues to say that since she is the Earl's daughter, she has always been lonely without friends, and she believes that it is Albert who will save her from the forest goblins like a hero. She also says that the son who lost his parents early will fall in love with her, so together they pledge for the future, and she is still waiting for him. She yaps about being an imprisoned girl in the countryside, but she is just standing here waiting for the hero to appear. She then asks Sebastian if she is right, to which he replies yes, and tells her to keep those words in this room. In response, she tells him not to worry since she is also a flexible and careful person, and if she lets the rumors spread, her father will be in trouble. Suddenly, an informant rushes inside the room, saying that he is sorry for bothering her so late at night, but something big happened. He continues to say that robbers have infiltrated the castle, and when Rico asks how her father is, he replies that he doesn't know, but she has to go to the royal capital with Sebastian to meet Albert. Hearing that, Rico becomes surprised since he would have to suddenly meet Albert. But then she notices that the informant is someone she has never seen before, so she asks when he was admitted. After that, Sebastian suddenly knocks her out from behind and apologizes to her. Then, a few moments later, Rico regains consciousness in an unfamiliar place. She hears a familiar voice asking if she is awake and finds herself tied down with a rope. Later, she becomes startled as she witnesses her father kneeling in front of her with one of his hands amputated. Afterward, Sebastian approaches her father with a sword and says that they have been friends for a long time. Then he stabs her father in the chest and says that today he said goodbye. He adds that his family, since his father's time, has served the family of Count Altier, so they might not understand why he is doing this. Therefore, he explains that for the sake of the kingdom, from his father's time, the king gave a secret order, so he would take back all the lands with dragon veins from the people of foreign blood like them. Moreover, his patience has reached its limit, since he couldn't stand people of pure royal blood like them bowing down to serve outsiders like them. Meanwhile, Rico wonders what Sebastian means by outsiders and lands with dragon veins. Seeing her reaction, Sebastian becomes certain that he never told his daughter anything, but he knows that it still won't make any difference to her. Afterward, he tells him that his beloved daughter will be used to entertain the Doroshan men he brought, and he will watch as she dies slowly. Then, the Doroshan men approach her to have some fun, and then they begin to assault her, saying that they thought she was just a kid, but she is very charming. Later, she closes her eyes in fear and wonders why this is happening to her. Suddenly, Sebastian notices someone behind one of those guys and questions who that is. It was none other than Anna, and she was preparing her attack in the stance that Kanon taught her. Then, one of the guys notices her and tells her to get out of the way, but Anna deals massive damage by launching a series of punches. At that, the guy becomes angry and tries to launch an attack on her, asking who she is. However, Anna launches a devastating blow that rips him in half with a single hit. Then, after Kanon and Shura appear at the scene, Kanon comments that it looks like they are a bunch of ants, so if they don't run fast, he will kill them all. A few moments before, Shura asks Kanon if they are attacking them directly, to which he replies that stupid enemies like them can't limit their actions. Back to the present, Kanon becomes speechless as he thinks that the situation looks serious. On a rough count, they have 6 people, and if all of them are not strong, it will be easy to defeat them. But this group seems to be over 7 people, so there is a chance they set up an ambush. Next, the person who is the target this time is Rico, and although he already guessed the situation, he didn't expect them to do it this far. After that, he notices an injured man lying on the floor and identifies him as Lord Altair. He then thinks that they are too late, but after hearing some noise from Altair's mouth, he believes that it still might not be too late. Afterward, he activates a skill called Skill Loading, which creates a skill field surrounding a large area. Next, he telepathically tells Shura that they don't have to worry, since now he has full control of this castle. He also adds that there is no ambush, so the group in front of them has all their power. He orders Anna to separate the butler's hand from the lord and show him the results of her practice, to which she responds that she got it. At that, Kanon becomes a bit surprised and wonders if she is that confident because of her new equipment. He describes that the first piece of equipment she has is the Heart of Eyeglasses, which displays the opponent's status, helps to keep calm, and doubles the experience gained. The main weapon is the Kaiser Glove, which has a short sword attached to support when punching. Afterward, he telepathically asks Shura if she has mastered the use of new equipment, to which she replies in the affirmative. He also requests that she support Anna carefully, since she is dealing with too many enemies for her first fight. After that, Anna dashes headfirst at the enemies with incredible speed. Then, she approaches one of the opponents and attacks so hard that she smashes the enemy along with the ground. She grabs one throwing knife tied to her thighs and launches it towards the rope that is keeping Riko tied down. After she succeeds in freeing Riko, Kanon quickly catches her in the nick of time. Then, as the enemies are still distracted from Anna's attack, Kanon gives her something to drink. At that, Riko thanks him while blushing, and asks who he is, but Kanon puts her to sleep and apologizes, saying that he will explain later since he is busy right now. Afterward, he looks at his father, who is lying injured on the floor, and then he approaches him. Later, addressing him as Lord Altair, Kanon asks if he can hear him, to which Altair asks who he is. But Kanon tells him that there is no time, so he needs to choose. On the other side, Sebastian tries to launch a close-range attack against Anna, but she barely manages to dodge it. Then, after losing her footing from dodging the attack, one of the guys tries to launch a sneak attack from the back. But Shura blocks the attack using her spear, and tells her not to worry about her back and just focus on her enemy. Meanwhile, Kanon looks at Shura and thinks that her weapon is working well. He adds that her armor is made from orichalcum, and her undershirt is armor from the moon goddess. Suddenly, one of the enemies tries to attack her, asking what her useless stick can do. But Shura swings her spear and splits his head in a single hit. Next, she engages with her second opponent, and then she slices him in half by using the ice magic, Nilheim, on her spear. Witnessing that, the enemies become frozen in fear, but later one of the enemies mentions that her trick is to use spears, so everyone should surround her and not get too close. After that, as the enemies launch a coordinated attack, Shura changes the form of her spear and kills them all in a single attack. She then comments that changing the tactics as soon as they know the enemy's moves is commendable, but now it is changed to a scythe, because it was originally made of ice. Meanwhile, Sebastian becomes shocked to see that she took them all down with a single move, and as he says that because of them, his plan is ruined, and all of a sudden, Altair stabs his shoulder from the back. Seeing Altair, Sebastian gets confused, whereas Altair pulls his sword out and thanks him for serving them for so long. Sebastian asks how he can recover from being slashed like that, since it shouldn't have mattered no matter how good he is at healing. In response, Altair says that his master saved him from death when all healing magic was in vain, to which Sebastian asks what he is saying. Afterward, he looks at Shura and Anna while asking who they really are. At that, Kanon suddenly starts laughing, and then he asks if they should talk about that now and starts approaching him. He compliments Shura and Anna, saying that even though he was late, they did a good job and that they are really amazing. He tells Sebastian that it is checkmate, and it is time for tonight's main dish. He also tells him that there is no need to worry since the two girls behind him won't attack. Kanon adds that he won't let him escape, so he should use all his strength to resist. At that, Sebastian charges at him while telling him not to underestimate him. However, as he is about to attack, his hand stops midair, so Kanon asks if he still hasn't noticed. Then, addressing him as a fool, he repeats that he told him that it was a checkmate. He further mentions that all the darkness in this area is his servant, so if he wants to live, he has to try to get out of his hand. Hearing that, Sebastian becomes surprised, whereas Kanon adds that the weak point is his real body, as he can't move while using this skill. Hearing that, Sebastian tries to raise his hand in anger, to which Kanon mentions that he purposely ordered that rising thing to not lock one of his hands. He also tells him that he can deal with this move by trying to move as efficiently as possible, while adding that playing with him is boring. Then, he questions if he should take that as well, to which Sebastian asks what he is saying. He tightly grabs his arm using his spell, and then he tears it off. After that, he undoes his spell and pushes him to the ground. Later, he throws his severed arm in front of him, and after looking at it, Sebastian starts puking. He then tells Kanon to forgive him, and adds that he will never do that again, since he was only doing the duties assigned by the king. In response, Kanon says that he doesn't care, because in front of him is just a scoundrel who arranged to screw a poor daughter in front of her dying father. He also disappointedly looks at him, saying that he is very disgusting. At that, Sebastian requests him to be generous, but Kanon replies that he is not a god. He then menacingly stares at him and adds that those who don't understand the pain of others are not qualified to ask for forgiveness, so he will slowly enjoy the pain that he brings to others. Then, he tells Altair that he can treat him as he likes, to which he thanks him for his favor. Afterward, Kanon becomes silent for a while, so Shura asks if something is wrong. Kanon says that after enough confirmation, he finds this world to be flawed. He then says that he has decided on his goal, to which Shura asks what the goal is and if they can hear it. In reply, Kanon says that he will control the dark side of this world, get rid of the annoying things, and change them. First of all, they have to have base points, that they have to quickly destroy this world. The next morning, as Kanon is sipping his morning tea, Altair approaches him and wishes him good morning. Kanon then wishes him back, whereas Altair asks if he slept well last night. Kanon says that it was alright, to which Altair says that he is glad to hear that. He mentions that he has already finished all preparations for the order he gave him last night. Moving on, Shura and Anna wish him good morning, to which Kanon wishes them back. Later, he informs them that he has urgent business to go out, so Shura requests that he let them escort him. Kanon tells them that he is going alone this time, so he can finish up some of his affairs from last night, and he doesn't want them to see it. He adds that even though he doesn't want to do this, but due to the necessity of the situation, he will finish it quickly and return. Then he orders Anna to follow Riko closely, and take this opportunity to learn a lot about routines and daily activities. He also orders Shura to take charge of guarding and supporting Anna, to which she replies okay. Later, he asks if they want any presents since they worked hard yesterday, while adding that they can say whatever they want. At that, Anna says that she wants clothes, and while the work clothes are nice, she wants to wear other clothes. Afterward, Kanon asks Shura what she wants, to which she replies that she doesn't have anything particular she wants. At that, Kanon becomes speechless while looking at her, and later Altair suddenly whispers to him, asking, "What about that?" Kanon then asks what he means, to which Altair asks if he will accept his daughter. In response, he tells him to let him think a little more, while thinking that he completely forgot about it. Hearing that, Altair thanks him, whereas Kanon thinks the father is just like his daughter and wonders if he could see if there is a way to push it away. After that, Kanon departs for his work, while Shura and the others warn him to be careful on his way. Moving on, Kanon arrives in an abandoned building and asks Sebastian, while addressing him as Mr. Butler, if they should end this. Meanwhile, Sebastian asks why he kept him alive and what he is going to do. In reply, Kanon informs him that he has already been killed, so now he is just a zombie thanks to his magic, while adding that he has urgent work to do for his subordinates, so he wants him to throw up everything he knows. Later, he menacingly tells him that even though he is dead, he should still be afraid of pain, so he wants him to answer his questions quickly. On the other side, Anna gossips with the other girls about how she loves sweets. Hearing that, Riko tells her to eat to her heart's content while requesting Shura to join them as well. At that, Anna asks if this is okay since they are just servants, whereas Shura mentions how she shared a bath with them as well. Riko says that it is okay and that it has been a while since she talked to girls her age. He also says that it is fun to talk to them and that she wants to be friends with them. Hearing that, Anna replies yes, whereas Shura says that she wants to be friends with her too, if she doesn't mind. Later, Kanon returns from his work and states that it looks like they are having fun. At that, Shura stands up and greets him, whereas Kanon says that he bought a few things. He also says that he is not good at picking clothes, and then he hands Anna a bag, saying that these are the clothes that she wants. Next, he looks at them while thinking that they got along really fast and considers letting Riko go with them. Afterward, he calls Shura and hands her a box, saying that it is for her. He adds that she said she didn't want anything in particular, so he made his own choice. Then he leaves the room, saying that he still has to talk to Altair, so he is going out for a while. After he was gone, Shura opened the box that Kanon presented her with, and she gets surprised after looking inside the contents. Meanwhile, Anna, while looking inside the box, asks what she has been given, whereas Riko questions what that is. Then, they become amazed to find out that it was a hairband while commenting that Kanon chose a beautiful hairband for her. Anna says that their master's reward this time is impressive, whereas Riko comments that they are very pretty. Meanwhile, Shura states that she told him that she doesn't need anything and that she feels really embarrassed. However, Riko mentions that the reward didn't have to be an object, so Shura asks her to give an example. In response, Riko says that she could have asked for head pats, while Anna comments that it sounds childish. However, Shura, on the contrary, feels devastated after hearing Riko's idea. Then, she becomes depressed and falls on the floor, so Anna asks if there is something wrong. Shura says that she is very stupid, but Anna asks if she doesn't find the hairband cute. In response, Shura says that she still hasn't reached the level of a real girl, and that she still has a lot of practice to do. She asks Anna how to master the charming girl skill, to which Anna questions what she is talking about. Suddenly, Kanon returns to the room and asks what's wrong, to which Anna replies that it is nothing. After that, Kanon orders Altair to do it from now on and report to him as soon as there is news from the capital. Later, Shura asks what activities he will be doing today, to which he responds that they will be leaving tomorrow, so they should prepare everything they need. She asks where they are going, so Kanon tells her that it will be a long way, hence they have to camp continuously. He then answers her previous question, saying that they are going to their future home, where they will create their dungeon. Moving on, as they are on their way, Anna begins to chop vegetables for preparing their food, so Kanon compliments her, saying that she has become more proficient in using knives and edged weapons. Hearing that, Anna becomes happy and comments that she is very glad, but Kanon tells her to watch out with the knife. She then says that it is all thanks to his diligent guidance every day, to which he tells her that it is nothing worth mentioning. Later, Riko says that it is true and that this is the first time she has experienced this, whereas Kanon says that it is just living out in the wild. She continues to say that she feels like she has become one with this vast land, and she never thought that living among nature would be this satisfying. She also says that this is so amazing and that life with nature is pleasant, whereas Anna asks if it is not just a change of environment. Afterward, Shura tells them that she thinks life like this is comfortable, and a warm meal amidst mountains is always far more enticing. Hearing that, Kanon comments that, as their master, it makes him happy that they feel that way. He adds that things will become more stable once they have their own dungeon, and he thinks wandering like this is also fine. Later, Anna tells Riko that she figured she always used to hang around in the castle as a princess, to which Riko replies that since her father is guarding it now, it would be boring to just stay there. At that, Anna says that that is true, whereas Riko comments that she always wanted to venture somewhere far away. Meanwhile, Kanon stares at them while they are gossiping and wonders when the team has gotten so lively. Moving on, after arriving at the unexplored area, Kanon mentions that this must be it, whereas Riko asks if this is their destination. She also says that it seems like they took the long route, to which Kanon apologizes to them since he messed up while reading the map. Afterward, Anna asks if this really is the place since they are right in the middle of nowhere. At that, Riko mentions that it is because they are in the unexplored territory and that the air here is also great. Anna asks Shura if there is something wrong, so she replies that her body feels much lighter and more relaxed. Hearing that, Kanon mentions that it is because there is a ley line right beneath them, and adds that he searched many places, but this location is the best so far. He also says that it must be confusing for them, so he will explain later, but for now, they need to know that this land possesses hidden powers. However, Riko tells him that this place is very far away from any town, so she imagines that it would be quite inconvenient even if it had special powers. At that, Kanon tells her that she doesn't need to worry since he will show them the magic he just acquired. He then tells them to let him build something before using his new spell, while Shura asks if he needs their help. In response, he tells them to just stand there and watch and prepare to be surprised. He then summons some floating screens in front of him and thinks about following the blueprint that he already knows. Afterward, everyone becomes surprised as he instantly creates a structure within seconds out of thin air. Seeing that, Anna couldn't believe that a whole structure sprung up from nothing, whereas Riko questions if this is a gazebo. Anna then questions what a gazebo is, to which Riko responds that it is often placed in big yards, usually for people to rest and enjoy the view. She then asks Kanon if they are going to construct a mansion here, while mentioning that it will take a lot of work to design a surrounding garden. At that, Kanon asks if she thinks it like that, and later he mentions that it is not what she thinks it is. Then, while pointing at the structure, he informs them that this is a gateway. Hearing that, Shura and Riko become surprised, so Riko asks what he means since she doesn't understand anything. In response, Kanon tells her that seeing is believing, so they should follow him. Then, as he approaches the gateway, his body begins to vanish, so Riko screams in fear that he has disappeared. Afterward, Anna and Shura step forward, saying that they should go after him, whereas Riko tells them to wait for her. Then, Riko enters the gateway while closing her eyes, and after going inside and opening her eyes, she becomes astounded to find herself in a completely different place than before. She asks where this place is and if it is inside that thing that they just built, but Kanon replies that they are right under it. Anna comments that it is pretty since everything is sparkling, whereas Kanon mentions that this is his new ability. He adds that the teleportation spell can manipulate space, and that thing above is called a teleporter. At that, Riko understands why he called it a gateway, while Kanon mentions that making underground structures like this is just like what the magical book mentioned. He further explains that now that they have this, they can go anywhere. They just need to place a corresponding portal in Waste Subane, and then they can go back anytime. He then tells them that this room is the master room, and anything they build later will surround it. Hearing that, Riko states that she can't believe magic alone can build a place like this, whereas Anna asks if she can't use magic. She replies yes, she can't use any magic, while Kanon informs them that they will spend some time talking about magic later. He says that he will revamp this place for long-term settlement first, so he creates a room while yelling, "Anywhere door." Hearing that, everyone becomes confused, whereas Kanon apologizes to them. He tells them that they should continue talking inside, and orders them to come with him. After entering the classroom, he points at the chairs and tells them to sit anywhere they want. They gossip about how strange the furniture looks and that there are table sets for one person everywhere. After that, Kanon tells them that now that everyone is seated, he will continue. Anna asks if this is about Riko's inability to use magic, to which Kanon replies in the affirmative. Riko then informs him that no matter how hard she tries to learn, she just can't use it. In reply, Kanon states that he has been having doubts from the start, but he suddenly discovered something quite interesting. He then adds that Riko will definitely be able to master sorcery, and while hearing that, everyone becomes surprised. Riko asks if it is true, to which Kanon replies that he meant it. She then breaks down in tears, saying that she was very close to giving up magic, whereas Kanon continues to say that making this dungeon is also part of his plan to upgrade her. Hearing that, Riko asks what he means and says that she doesn't feel good about this. She also says that she feels nervous and wonders what would happen if she was forced to do something dirty, but Kanon asks why she would think of things like that. He then tells her that he will only remove a seal placed on her, to which Riko asks what he means by that. She also asks if, by seal, he means hymen, to which Kanon replies that it is not what he meant, but looking at it like that is fine too. Afterward, Shira asks if there is something on her body that is being locked away, whereas Riko states that she still doesn't get it. Kanon then tells them that Altair himself told him about this, so it can't be wrong, and this seal was placed upon her by her mother, so it's been there since she was born. Later, he reveals that Riko carries the blood distantly inherited from a succubus, and since a succubus can store a large amount of mana, they themselves can't create mana, so they have to suck it out of a host. Also, once those vital points are locked off, the whole body can't channel mana anymore, so that's why she can't use any magic at all. Hearing that Riko is a succubus by distance inheritance, Shira says that she now understands why she always says all those vulgar words, whereas Riko thanks her in confusion. After that, Kanon tells them that since everyone has now understood the reason behind Riko's inability to do sorcery, the next thing on the list is to figure out the best way to break the seal. Additionally, if he is the only one involved from the start to the end, there could be a lot of problems, to which Riko asks if there is something she needs to do herself. In response, he states that there is a succubus existing inside Riko, and she must be the one to communicate and understand this side of her. He also says that for the removal to go smoothly, they also need the succubus cooperation, and when both sides merge into one, the process will no longer pose any danger. But even he himself doesn't know how that succubus is, and since it hasn't shown any concerning behaviors, it might not be dangerous. Hearing that, Anna becomes startled, and then she asks what will happen to Riko if the seal is finally broken. In reply, Kanon tells her that it is not something they can predict, and they don't know how strong that succubus impact will be when the seal is off. At that, Anna becomes speechless, but Riko tells her not to worry too much. She also says that no matter what happens, her nature won't disappear, to which Anna comments that it got her more worried. Then, after Kanon goes to make more rooms, Anna grabs Riko's attention, to which Riko asks what it is. Anna says that she strolled the whole castle, but she never saw her mother, so she wants to know where she is. At that, Riko tells her that she was gone long ago and that her father is her only relative now. Hearing that, Anna apologizes to her and adds that she was careless, but Riko says that it is nothing. Afterward, Riko remembers something, so she asks Kanon if her mana can flow since she has her hymen, to which Kanon mentions that it is not where mana comes from. Later, he asks if she is ready while adding that there are only mirrors in that room. He also says that she can run if she is scared and that he won't force her to do this. At that, Riko replies that she will do it, she will be able to wield magic, and she won't be that naive princess living in her empty castle anymore. Then, after Riko enters the room, Kanon tells them that he will go out for a bit and come back, to which Shura asks where he is going. Kanon says that he still has some plans waiting to be assessed and that there shouldn't be any problems, but Anna should still guard the gates just in case. Hearing that, Shura replies in the affirmative, adding that lately he seems much happier. Kanon then says that he guesses that it is true, whereas they wish him a safe trip. Moving on, Kanon arrives at Altair's castle while asking Dane and Altair about how things are going. Dane replies that he spread the rumors near the borders of the Earl's territory and that it is enough for Gaia's worshippers to take notice, just like he wanted. Kanon then asks Altair about Link's side, to which he responds that everything is ready, and the contract about the salt he suggested has been set up successfully. He adds that the only thing left is the Upatali's church's next move, and they have to guarantee the safety of those who agreed to the contract, so he believes that they should take care of both issues at the same time. He also says that everything is going according to plan, to which Kanon tells him that he has his thanks. Altair asks if it is okay for him to go this far away from his dungeon when it is just built, to which he replies that it should be fine over there for a while. However, if there really is a problem, with their abilities now, they wouldn't be easy to defeat. On the other side, at the entrance of Kanon's dungeon, Anna encounters some soldiers, so she rushes at them to attack them. Then, as she is about to land a punch, one of the soldiers puts up his shield and deflects her attack. Subsequently, the soldier tries to counterattack her by stabbing her, but Anna blocks it using her gauntlet. Later, another soldier approaches her from the side and bashes her using his shield. The soldier tries to slice her from the opening that was created, but Anna blocks the attack using her gauntlet. She then does a backflip, and after making some distance between them, she starts huffing and thinks about how these guys are pretty strong. She further thinks that all attacks till now have been useless, and all the moves were predicted and deflected quickly. She wants to break their formation, but not only are they fast, they're also sharp. When they work together, it is hard to defend and also hard to dodge, so she lost her focus for a second, and that thrust has brought her down through her shield. Then, she wonders if attacking is possible and if there is any other way. Suddenly, Riko menacingly comes out of the gateway and tells Anna to step back. But she begins to charge up her magic, and then she points her hand at the soldiers. Afterward, a giant tornado is summoned at the location of the soldiers, and it tears them to shreds. Meanwhile, Kanon arrives at his dungeon using the teleporter, saying that it is amazing to have someone as proficient at diplomacy and politics as Link. Suddenly, he hears a rumbling sound outside, so he questions if there is something wrong up there. Afterward, Shura comes running to him in panic, so he asks what it is. In response, she says that Riko left the room without her noticing since there seems to be a battle outside, and she believes that Anna must be struggling to hold them off. Hearing that, Kanon orders her that they should go, and after arriving there, he looks at the devastated scene and wonders what is going on. Afterward, he grabs Anna's attention while asking why she is so beaten up and what went down there. In reply, Anna reports to him that the enemies made a surprise attack, and Princess Riko is fighting them off with magic. As she looks for Princess Riko, she becomes shocked as she sees her lying on the ground. Then, she shockingly asks if she is dead, to which Riko replies that she is still alive in a weak voice. Anna asks if she is alright and how it happened. Riko says that it is probably a side effect from her merge with the succubus, whereas Kanon tells Anna to not worry since it is just that her mana is depleted right now. Riko then comments that if she teases her body right now, she won't be able to resist. While looking at her behavior, Anna says that the original Riko seems fine as she is still talking so dirtily. Later, Riko requests that she hold her hand and asks if she is having her last moments, to which Anna tells her to calm down since she is just sleepy. Moving on, Kanon looks at the crater, which was created due to her magic, and then he compliments her, saying that her strength is quite admirable. He also says that it was because he hadn't shown her how to control her mana, and then he informed them that he would make a room for her to rest in. Next, he tells Anna that he knows she is hurt too, so he orders her to return to her room so that he can heal her. Later, he approaches one of the defeated soldiers and thinks about how they attacked right after he made his dungeon, just like that first attack wave during the defense tower phase in Dungeon Seed. However, their skill parry rendered all of Anna's strikes useless, so that is suspiciously strong compared to the first wave. He feels like he knows the reason behind this, and it seems they have gotten themselves into some trouble. Afterward, Shura approaches him, asking if it is not strange that the royal guards, who attacked Anna, could just appear in such a secluded area. In response, Kanon tells her that he nearly figured it out, and what he is about to do will clear things up. Hearing that, Shura asks what it is, to which he answers that he will summon Gaias and that he will use this place to call upon the deities. After that, at the dungeon's gate, the asylum of Gaia's worshippers, Riko gives some food to a little boy, to which he nervously thanks her. She tells the boy to eat a lot and grow up into a big package, to which Anna tells her to stop speaking like that. Just then, Shura calls the two of them and announces that she has brought out all the extra foods. After some time, Anna says that all the foods for today have been distributed and tells Kanon that everyone finds it delicious, to which he replies that seeing everyone eat well really motivates them cooks. Riko then asks Kanon if all the people there are Gaia's worshippers, to which Kanon replies that she is right, and mentions that Rick and Altair are still trying to gather more of them there. Riko says that there are much more believers in this cult than she thought, while Anna asks, could it be that there aren't many people who worship Gaias nowadays? Riko replies that based on what she has heard, this cult has long been on the wane. It is completely inferior in the war against the Upatalis, the most prevalent church today. Gaia's worshippers get treated worse and worse. A lot of them have been starved for many days. Some have even risked their lives on the way there. Anna then looks at the people and thinks that everyone has had a hard time. After that, Shura asks Kanon why is he only focusing on Gaia's worshippers, to which he replies that it's pretty simple. When they have a group of fanatics following them, they will begin to gain power. That is essential if they want to change the world, and they need a deity to be the role model. He announces that he will call Gaia there and then establish a country where Gaia is the national region. He adds that they won't just stop at Gaia's, they will take all the refugees under their wings and destroy those countries who have cornered them out. And then all the lands and autonomy will be redistributed, and announces that they will reform this world. He narrates, in fact, that's only a mere condition for him to achieve his actual goal. Kanon says that he is about to summon Gaia there, so once they are done with everyone's meals, just follow him. To which Riko agrees, and tells Anna to let's clean up and rearrange the rooms. Meanwhile, a lady comments that he is a brave one, and tells Shura it seems like they two are very close. Shura gets embarrassed hearing that, while the lady says that it's pretty obvious even at first glance. But Shura replies that she is only taken in as a servant. Her status is not that right now, but one night she sure will make him hers. She then calmed down and tell the lady that she still didn't told Kanon how she feels. Shura adds that when everyone's has their lives settled, she will confess to him. Afterwards, inside a room, Kanon announces that he will summon the goddess Gaia right now. He tells Gaia to come out and mentions that his dear Gaia can't stay a recluse forever. He is using the first command. Kanon narrates that this command is really eating up his mana, so he has to be careful, because if somebody were to ambush them now, it wouldn't be good. After that, a huge amount of energy forms in the center of the room. But just then, Kanon hears something and wonders, what was that sound just now? He has used most up of his mana for the summon, and asks if could it be that Gaia refused. But just then, Gaia opens the door while wearing a bikini and thanks Kanon for inviting him. But as soon as Kanon sees her, he gets furious, which makes Gaia nervous. An old man asks if just now, but before he finishes, Kanon tells him to not mind it, just ignore her. He shouts that the summon is still going well and shouts at Gaia to show herself. After that, Gaia descends from above like a goddess, which amazes everyone. The people comment so this is their goddess, they can't believe that they get to see her in their lifetime. Gaia tells them that their belief has touched them, but the old man notices that her hands are shaking and asks if something is scaring her. They tells her to be rest assured and announces that even if it costs them their lives, they will protect the goddess Gaia. Meanwhile, Gaia looks at Kanon's angry face and thinks that she is done for. She angered him by her joke. The people then tells Gaia that they will leave to prepare some things, to which she tells them to do their best. And as soon as everyone left, Kanon calls Gaia's name in anger, which scared her. He tells her to come outside for a bit, but she nervously denies and asks what he intends to do with him. She apologizes for her joke earlier, but Kanon tells her to just come out. Outside, Gaia asks why is Kanon in a hurry to build a country, to which he asks if there is something wrong, since she told him to do whatever he wants. Gaia replies that she is not objecting, it's just that she is not well versed when it comes to fighting or wars. Also, while it's true that she has given him powers, but it would be difficult to protect him. And not to mention, if something bad happens, her worshippers will also be in danger, which she doesn't want to see. Kanon then asks if she is planning to just ignore everything and hide forever, to which she tells him to not say it like that, and mentions that she will find a solution. And he is also here now, to which Kanon replies he understands that she doesn't want to get involved too deeply, and asks if he is an automatic weapon now. He then tells Gaia that when everything will be over, she should better prepare herself, to which she confusingly asks what's with that. After that, Kanon says that they should stop for today, to which Gaia asks if there is something wrong, and why does he look like he has no strength left. To which Kanon tells her that he used up all of his mana summoning her, and now his mana is almost non-existent just like her personality, which shocked her. She cryingly shouts what does he mean by non-existent, and asks how is she going back then, to which Kanon says that it will take him a while to replenish it, but why can't she go back by herself? Suddenly, Gaia's skirts lift due to the wind, to which Kanon asks her why isn't she wearing any underwear, and if she wants other people to see that. Gaia responds that the tight feeling down there makes her uneasy, but Kanon mentions that she still wore swimsuit, to which Gaia excitedly announces it's because she wanted to test the reaction of those uncles, the feeling of people submitting to her, and that freedom as well, it was amazing. Suddenly, she shouts but what's more important is that she can't go back, and asks if there is any game for her to play, which irritates Kanon. Meanwhile, Riko asks what are they talking about, what is this game in underwear, to which Anna says she doesn't really get it, but maybe Gaia is just a really funny goddess. Just then, Kanon shouts Shura's name in worry, and tells her to step back. Shura then turns around, and sees something coming at her with full speed. But before it could harm her, Kanon appears before her and stops the spear attacking Shura. He shouts that he has wasted too much mana, it's depleting so quickly, and then shouts for limit break. But to Kanon's surprise, the spear destroys his shield and manages to cut his arm off, and the impact sends him flying. Shura turns around in worry, and gets shocked to see Kanon lying injured on the ground. Shura and the others call Kanon's name in worry, as they run towards him. Meanwhile, Gaia looks at the spear, and recognizes whose it is. The spear then flew back to its owner, while Gaia says so it's him. She really doesn't want to see the face of someone who can't read the atmosphere. After that, Eupatales descends from the sky, to which Gaia says, who would have thought that he could do something as lowly as ambush, and asks if they are that much of a threat to him. To which Eupatales asks how is that lowly, and mentions that summoning a human from another world. She should be ashamed of herself. Gaia then tells everyone to let her talk to him, and orders them to take Kanon out of there. Anna tries to object, but Gaia tells her that they can't afford to lose Kanon now. But just then, Shura shouts no in anger. And as she walks forward, Gaia nervously asks what is she planning to do, and mentions that he is God, so she can't beat him. To which Shura replies so what, she absolutely won't let him get away, but suddenly, Kanon tells her to stop. Shura calls his name in surprise, while Kanon mutters that it hurts, and wonders if there is some sort of effect on this thing. Kanon then asks the others if they are okay, to which Riko replies that they are all unscathed. Anna cryingly mentions Kanon's hand, and thinks that it looks painful, while he says that his clothes are all ruined, but otherwise, nothing is wrong. Kanon then tells everyone that if they can still move, so go and find a hiding place, while he will stay with Gaia. He looks at the man in the sky, and asks if he is Eupatales. He chose just the right time for the ambush. Kanon checks the damage, and narrates that it triggered a void instant death, pierced through magic defense wall, and inflicted destructive damage. After that is godly impairment and nullifying healing charm. But just then, Kanon realizes that without a void instant death, his entire upper body would have been blown off, and surprisingly thinks that it has been triggered. Kanon smiles and says he sees, so it's like that. After that, Kanon announces that alright, he is going, to which Anna nervously inquires about his arm. Shura adds that they will help him, but Kanon tells her that there is no need, he is his prey. Shura tries to object, but Kanon reminds her that they all have their own missions. He tells them to have faith in what they are doing, and mentions that some of them have risked their lives to be there. He adds that wave must already be on its way to the castle's gates, they are not helping him this way. He then orders them that this is a command, so do anything they can, but don't let them touch even a finger, which makes Gaia emotional. Kanon narrates that he is the one who made them feel that way. It's a bad habit, he will have to rein it in. Even at the cost of his life, he wants to play with him, and thinks that it must be the player's bad habit. Meanwhile, Shura tells Gaia that she should go as well, but she refuses, and tells her that she will stay, it is her duty to see this through. She then wipes her tears, and tells Shura that it's alright, she definitely will not die, and begs her to please protect her believers. At the same time, Eupatales looks at Kanon, and says so he is the human that Gaia summoned, and asks if he is done bidding farewells with his friends in this world. Kanon replies that he is so boring, as that's the first thing he say to him, but mentions that considering the situation, he is quite satisfied. Eupatales gets surprised, while Kanon adds that thanks to him, his plan has started earlier. He thought that he had to defeat his believers and burn them along with their city, but he saved him so much work. It's great that his opponent is so dumb. Kanon grins and mentions he didn't think that he would be baited so easily. The purview is also clearer now, and tells Eupatales that he is not so good at using his head, because he is bound by some emotion. Eupatales laughs hearing that, and calls him an interesting one, to which Kanon asks if this is about the arm. It's not a big deal. What he wants the most is information, so this much is nothing, but Eupatales tells him to stop bluffing. He is surprised to know that information is superior to one's dominant hand. He then tells Kanon to tell him the truth and don't bluff this time, to which Kanon coldly replies that he has already known for sure that he can kill him. He adds that the only people who can effectively hinder him in this world are gods. They can also change their course of action depending on whether he can eliminate the obstacles. That's something he has always been concerned about, just how much impact he can have on a god. Or to put it simply, can he make them his attack target? Kanon says that during the fight earlier, his move triggered avoid instant death. In other words, that counted as an attack against him. Eupatales asks what he is blabbering about, to which Kanon asks in return if he is not getting his point. He then tells Eupatales that he is not an event character, meaning he belonged to the purview of his system. He is a character in this world just like him. So even if he is a god, he still can kill him. Kanon grins and says that most don't have enough information about gods, so in truth, to achieve it with just an arm is something very lucky. He announces that originally his plan was to test it on Gaia, but that's no longer needed, which makes Gaia nervous. She shouts no way, he suppressed her powers to kill her off, to which Kanon replies that it would be troublesome if she resisted. He also wants to minimize the amount of mana wasted. This is a priceless sacrifice for this world. Eupatales says an action that fears no gods and mentions that he is an existence who must be eradicated. To which Kanon laughs and asks if that is so, but isn't that all the same? He tells Eupatales that he looks like a rat, scrambling to protect its personal interest to him, and asks if he thinks that pests should be erased in the name of the world. Eupatales angrily shouts that he dare to call him a rat, to which Kanon agrees, and say that he is also a weak one, so tell him something. Why did he aim for the woman first? The thought that he just need to win. It's the ways of the losers. That's the thought of someone who has foreseen his defeat. Kanon then asks Eupatales if he is afraid of him and calls him a house mouse. Eupatales gets furious hearing that and angrily attacks Kanon with his magic. Kanon dodges the attacks and comments that it's a daring move. But suddenly, Eupatales appears above Kanon and tries to attack him with his spear, but Kanon manages to dodge it as well. After that, Eupatales gets shocked to see that he can't move and realizes that Kanon has wrapped his shredded arm around his spear while he attempts to slash him with a dagger. Eupatales dodges the attack, but just then, Kanon kicks him in the face without giving him any time to react. Eupatales then gets pushed back by the attack and grits his teeth in anger. Kanon says that he has got his weapon now, and with this skill, he can also use a spear, while Eupatales attempts to strike him again. But Kanon easily dodges the attack and counterattacks him from behind. And as they continue fighting, Eupatales notices that Kanon is smiling and angrily tells him to stop that, which confuses Kanon. He smiles and tells Eupatales he is laughing because it's fun. He calls Eupatales the final boss and mentions that he is only a normal player, so don't say such rude things. Kanon announces that every final boss is the same to them, the players. It's what they are going to kill, while enjoying trading all killing intents for pleasure and contentment. Finding out what the enemy is, and approaching while sidestepping fatal blows, no way he is going to let this moment go to waste, which scared Eupatales. Kanon evilly asks if this is the first time someone has shown their desire to kill him on his face. And as all the bindings gone, he mentions that his arm won't tear so easily. After that, he smiles and calls for rewind, as his arm regenerated again. Eupatales tries to get away from Kanon, but his attack cut Eupatales' arms off. He shockingly shouts that it can't grow back, to which Kanon comments he understands. It turned out that even gods don't know of each other's abilities and divinity, which confuses Eupatales. Kanon tells him he believed that he never fought with Gaia, so he won't know of her abilities and divinity. Kanon narrates that the collision between power and divinity of the gods is a simple one. The damage will be minimized by the healing charm, however. Attacks using transition synergize very well with rewind charms. This fact is only apparent when both parties are present, so it's all thanks to Gaia. He then tells Eupatalis to not cry. Now that his arm is blown off, predict the next moves and reorganize what he now knows. Eupatalis gets scared, while Kanon adds that they are all fighting for survival there, so don't be such a wet blanket. It's his fault for not paying attention. After that, Kanon clicks his fingers and calls for all mana release. Eupatalis gets scared after seeing Kanon's mana, while Kanon says now that he grasped the situation, he is heating up and has the upper hand, so how about they start? He asks Eupatalis if he is ready, since it's his turn now. Eupatalis shouts no way, that amount of mana is impossible, to which Kanon replies that it's right there in front of him. Eupatalis then calls Kanon's name, and asks if he really is an archmage, which confuses him. Gaia also gets confused hearing the word archmage, while Kanon asks Eupatalis what he is talking about. He tells him to not get the wrong idea, and announces that he is a hermit, much more superior than the archmage. Eupatalis tells Kanon to not make him laugh, as only those ruling over everything can be hermits. But just then, something clicks in his mind, as he tells Kanon to wait, and asks how many times he has repeated this world. Kanon asks if he is talking about creating characters and transferring, and answers that he is not sure. But the number is multiplied by all races, genders, and professions in this world. He has completed everything up to the maximum level, which shocked Eupatalis. He thinks that the amount of mana depends on the number of believers, but the mana Kanon possesses far surpasses his own. Kanon can use every magic system there is, mind, technique, body, everything belongs to a different league. He turned towards Gaia and thinks what that stupid woman was thinking by bringing this brat here, since uncontrollable strength just spells disaster, and he's even trying to end the world. After that, Kanon says that he now knows something else too. It seems that he only collected information about his own believers, and explains that those who see him as an archmage are just a band of stupid heroes. The believers can't know what they don't know, and can't confirm the information received either. It means that he possessed no system that he doesn't know of. Eupatalis asks what is he yapping about, to which Kanon says that he also doesn't have the slightest idea of the intelligence warfare. All he can do is dumbly laugh, and mentions that he is no better, so they should hurry up and start. At the same time, at Waste Xuan's castle gates, Shura and the others intercept the attacking soldiers. Shura angrily calls the next one to step forward, to which the soldiers get scared. But as soon as they march forward, Shura kills them instantly by her magic. She asks them what is wrong. Doesn't they men always gives themselves airs in this kind of situation? She asks if those are the toys they are holding in their hands, or do they enjoy getting dismembered without resistance? Meanwhile, Riko tells Anna that she can't just leave this be, to which Anna replies, don't tell her that she is a newbie or something, which makes Riko nervous. She shouts that they have to do something, to which Anna asks if she wants to get in there, and mentions that she will become mincemeat in no time. And just then, Shura evilly stare at them, which scared the two, as Riko says that they should have some time while they watch that hell unfold. Meanwhile, Eupatalis and Kanon are intensely fighting, where Kanon is easily overpowering him. He manages to cut off Eupatalis' fingers, and then kicks him while saying that he should not be careless. He then attacks Eupatalis with his magic, and injured him badly, as he coughs blood from his mouth. Kanon kicks him again, and tells Eupatalis to try and heal carefully, as he is getting shredded into pieces. He tells Eupatalis to put himself together, while Eupatalis narrates that he can't heal fast enough. He was mistaken. Be it the amount of mana, or how much is packed into one blow, even their speeds aren't in the same league. He can't even find a single weak spot. With techniques and weaponry skills similar to those in close combat, with his small stature, but abnormal amount of mana, it's as if he is just paper to him. Kanon only has a short blade, though that may be advantageous in hand-to-hand fighting. He can't catch up right until he has landed his hits. Moreover, Kanon can freely switch between his left and right hand. He can predict everything at once. Eupatalis realizes that he can't win. He has been underestimating matters related to Gaia, so he decides to flee and build a new plan. He then runs away in full speed, and shouts that he will definitely kill, but before he finishes, Kanon appears before him and asks if he is talking about him. Eupatalis shockingly asks how he suddenly appeared before him, while Kanon says that he didn't expect him to be running away. Eupatales asks how did he, but before he finishes, Kanon punched him in the face. He tells him that he went for his comrades, that is only enough to ignite this fight between them, so one of them will die today. Eupatales calls Gaia a bastard for summoning him, and just then, Kanon takes out his holy core from inside his body. Eupatales begs him to give it back, to which Kanon chokes his neck in anger. Kanon says that if he apply pressure and fold his body in half, he won't be talking anymore. After that, Kanon looks at his hand and announces that he will grant him the most shameful death. He then tells Eupatales to enjoy slowly, and melts his body until he dies. After the battle, Gaia shyly thanks Kanon, to which he tells her to stop with the gratitude, and to stop with the shyness, since it's gross. He tells her that Eupatales did the thing he hated the most, so he drew his blade. It's something between Eupatales and him, it doesn't concern her at all, so don't be delusional. Also, it's not like they are complete strangers, and asks Gaia if she wants to say some final words to him, as he shows her Eupatales' core. Kanon says that he doesn't have a consciousness anymore, he is just condensed mana now. Gaia asks if hasn't he killed him already, and mentions that he did some pretty terrible things, to which Kanon replies that he only took his holy core, he didn't know what would happen to his body. But now that he has taken care of her debt, it should be enough, and tells her to go back once her magic will return. Kanon adds that he doesn't want anything to do with the creators of this world. If he were to be reincarnated once more, he would like a different game. Gaia gets sad hearing his words, and just as she was about to say something, Shura and the others arrive and calls for Kanon. Rico gets surprised to see that his arm is healed, while Anna asks if he finish him, to which Kanon replies that he wasn't strong enough to call himself a god. After that, Rico turns towards Shura, and says that she went on a rampage over there. She turned all the guards into minced meat and meatballs, to which Kanon asks if she really did something so cruel. But Shura declines, and tells Rico and Anna to shut up or she will chop both of them. After that, Shura asks Gaia what they were talking about, to which Kanon says he wants to say one last thing. He is not forcing her, but she can join the party as an individual Gaia, not as a god, which surprised her. Kanon says that of course they won't treat her like a god, but if she still wants to play her games, she can go back, which makes Gaia emotional. Rico happily announces that she will ask her dad to organize something extravagant, while Shura and Anna asks Gaia what they can call her. Meanwhile, Kanon narrates that one can even call this a harem, and it reminds him that it was his original goal.